Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You know what time it is. That's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. It's BuckIQ time. And after, I don't know, 8 quarters and 1 touchdown, we said last week they'd already reclaimed that moniker. They were allowed to be called Silver Bullets again. Then they go out, still no touchdown, and a big win over Arkansas State. Feels like they're solidifying that claim to being Silver Bullets again, Zach.
They are, man. 8 quarters, 1 touchdown. They are definitely getting back to the silver bullet defense. They're running around. They're making plays. They're all on the same page. Did they play a perfect game this past Saturday? No. Did they give up some big plays? Or did they jump off sides way too many times? Did they have too many guy calls? Yes. But you want to know something? When Arkansas State got in the red zone, they bucked up. They made the stops they needed to make. And this Ohio State defense is here to play this year.
Are the penalties the most concerning thing for you at this point?
They are by far the most concerning things, because guess what? The tackling's been great. The pursuing to the football has been great. The communication's been great. So those 3 things, when they're all on the same page and they're playing downhill, playing fast, not overthinking, to me now it's just not being sloppy. Now it's, hey, let's put a little bit more, let's pay a little bit more attention to detail. Let's stay on sides. Let's not have the dumb PI calls, right? Time your jumps, find the football, do the little things now when the big things are already being taken care of.
Where do defenders find that line? Because I think we spent, all offseason talking about how this was going to be a more aggressive defense, that Jim Knowles was going to let them play faster and more free and confident. And sometimes, that can lend itself to being too aggressive and flying around too much and getting some penalties. How do you determine where to draw that line and where to stop it? And how can Jim Knowles and Perry Eliano and Tim Walton and Larry Johnson manage that moving forward so that this doesn't become a drive extender, allow somebody to keep the offense off the field or go score a touchdown? I mean, those are the things that can happen the longer a defense has to stay out there. And some of these were those self-inflicted wounds by being too aggressive.
Well, the offsides is simple. It's down and distance situations, right? I can see guys, whether it be 3rd and long, whatever it might be, maybe they jump off sides there. But once Arkansas State started getting this team jumping off sides, guess what? 3rd and long, you need to be paying attention to the ball. I understand the first time, hey, guess what? You're trying to time the snap, trying to make a sack on 3rd down. It's a passing situation. Guess what? I'm going to get off the ball and I'm going to go, and we get caught. Okay. But jumping off sides on 2nd and medium or 2nd and short, and jumping off sides for, 4 or 5 times after they already know they're having some snap count that's confusing you. At that point, it's the attention detail. At that point, it's staying locked in and saying, hey, I need to put my head in a little bit more to the line of scrimmage and watch the ball a little bit more. I can't go off the cadence so much, and I really got to pay attention. The PI calls, at some point, man, you got to play football. I understand going up and trying to make a play, but there were just way too many times where you're caught, where you're just completely beat, right? You're getting beat by 3 or 4 yards and trying to make up ground, or you're not finding the football and you're there in time and you're just kind of being lazy. Like there's different situations where you can be aggressive, where you can pin your ears back, where you can keep doing the things that Jim Knowles wants his defense to do. But there's also a fine line with, hey, let's just not make stupid penalties, and there came a point on Saturday where they were just making stupid penalties that, to your point, they're drive extenders. I can't tell you how many times they're 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, next year goes to 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, right? And it makes it much more manageable against, especially a team like Arkansas State.
We saw Ohio State make a quick move there. They took Denzel Burke out of the game. They let J.K. Johnson have his shot. Didn't do anything really negative with his opportunity. We didn't have to pay attention to him. We didn't notice it. Generally, that's a good sign for a cornerback. The week before, Jim Knowles had done something similar with Josh Proctor missing 1 tackle and then coming out, and Lathan Ransom going in. It does seem like there is maybe more accountability, whether that's penalty or missed assignment for Ohio State, than maybe years past.
I absolutely love it. You hit the nail on the head. This defense needed accountability. That's what they've been struggling with the past couple of years. You don't run out onto the field and say you're a silver bullet. There's a standard to be upheld with this defense, and you're finally seeing Jim Knowles hold people accountable, holding their feet to the fire. And I guarantee you that's what's going to make this defense great throughout the rest of the year. That is what's making the Tommy Eichenbergs, the Ronnie Hickmans, the leaders of this defense happy, because now there's a coach that's standing behind him say, hey, listen, if you're not making a play, someone's going to come in here that will, and guys are jumping at the opportunity to get on the field. And I love what Knowles did week 1 with Proctor. I love, what Knowles did Saturday with Denzel Burke. But that doesn't mean those guys are good or are bad players. It doesn't mean those guys aren't going to be all Big Ten players by the end of the year. I'm not saying that. Guess what? Everyone needs a wake-up call at some point. Everyone, especially in the day and age that we're in, where there's so much money flying around with college football, at some point you need kind of smacked in the face a little bit and say, hey, here's a wake-up call. You need to go out there and grind every single play, even when you're going against Arkansas State. And that's what I love about Jim Knowles. It's what I love as a former player. It's what I would love as a current player.
Yeah. Speaking of slapping people in the face, Mike Hall has done that 5 times in the opponent's backfield. 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks through 2 games. If we were maybe not paying enough attention to that week 1 performance because he didn't get a BuckIQ breakdown last week, we weren't going to make the same mistake twice. This guy is off to a ridiculous start.
Mike Hall, man, your plate at the table. You are at the king's table, my man. Absolutely unstoppable so far through the first 2 games. He's a guy that's shown an insane motor for how big of a guy he is. He uses his hands perfectly. He's a guy that just has a nose for the football, and it's hard to find that with the defense tackle. So many guys are 2-gappers. So many guys are like, hey, I'm going to take up 2 offensive linemen, and let the linebackers behind me make plays and have good vision. Mike Hall, man, guess what? That dude does his job and has a nose for the football with all of his TFLs and his sacks, and especially him being a big dude on the inside. Guess what? 3rd down comes, that dude pins his ears back and gets to the quarterback, and that's what you love to see. That's what the Aaron Donalds of the world thrive on, and that's what you see Mike Hall kind of modeling his game after.
He's getting it done. High-level production for a couple weeks. Ohio State has really needed some of that boost at defensive tackle. It was a little bit lacking there a year ago. We know what happened the year before with Tommy Togiai and Haskell Garrett, but it looks like Mike Hall is bringing that back for the Buckeyes there in the middle. Zach Boren going to break it down for us as only he can right now. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, here we go. Here's a situation. It's Saturday. It's in the Horseshoe, a game that's much tighter than I think either of us really thought it would be. Arkansas State's got a chance to tighten it up even more going into the locker room, and Mike Hall's like, no, I don't think so.
No, this was a huge play. And yes, everyone in Ohio Stadium, all of Buckeye Nation thought this was probably going to be a bigger margin going into halftime. But the defense here has to answer the call. Arkansas State's driving late here in the second quarter. They score here. Guess what? It's a much tighter game. 4th and 1. Defense line's like, hey, we're going to pin our ears back, and Mike Hall is leading this attack. You see his quickness off the ball here. And, hey, this is 4th and 1. You don't know. This could be a quarterback run. Arkansas State's got 2 timeouts left, but Mike Hall's so good with his hands, and he's getting on the edges of these offense linemen, which when you get on their edge and you get to the point where, guess what, they can't get their hand placement on you and they lose all of their strength, guess what? You have them beaten. You can see it right here from the very beginning when Mike Hall gets off the line of scrimmage right there. Look at his left hand. That's what a great defensive lineman can do. They play on the edges of these offensive linemen. Right now, 67's beat. He's got no strength. He's leaning. Mike Hall's got him. He rips his inside arm, which is his right arm, through. Guess what? On his edge. Game over right here. And the biggest thing that we all saw is he almost misses his tackle. He grabs Blackman with his right hand and throws him down like a little rag doll right here. I mean, this is absolutely amazing set of strength, agility. Mike Hall, man, great play.
That's everything really wrapped into one. It was crazy to watch as he kind of flings the towel there at the end. You said it's like a doll. That's exactly what it looked like. He's pulled some of the stuffing out of Blackman right there and just tossed it aside. I mean, he's doing it all on one play.
No, he is, man. And just his intensity that he's playing with. You can see it after this play. When he gets up, he realizes, man, 4th and 1, let's do it. That was the ball game right there. He's like, hey, listen, we're going to halftime. I'm getting my offense the ball in the second half. They're kicking off to us. They're going to go down and score right away. Game over. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you earned that big celebration. Second sack of the season there for Mike Hall, getting it done. And, He's doing this a lot too, Zach. And it might not be a good idea to just, I don't know, turn him free a little bit there in the middle.
No doubt. They completely turned him free and had a completely miscommunication on the blocking up front. But what I love about Mike Hall is he continues to play downhill and move downhill. So many times defensive linemen, aren't blocked and they just kind of sit there flat-footed before they can realize what's going on. And that's when sometimes you see them get flat-footed and get beat with speed, right? Mike Hall continues to play, continues to come downhill and makes a great play. And what blows my mind too is when he gets to the backfield and he's making plays on these athletic quarterbacks and running backs, man, he stays with them. His feet are so good. And I think that's what Larry Johnson touches on as well. He's got some of the best footwork there is. And if you look at defensive tackles in the NFL, you look at the Aaron Donalds of the world, you look at the J.J. Watts of the world, their feet work are phenomenal. And that's what they work on so much. And Mike Hall is here and he's just right with them. His feet work is so good. Even his little swim move right there. And everyone's going to say, it's missed block. But you want to know something? He's still seeing it. He's still playing off of his moves. He's not just sitting there and trying to two-gap the guy. He's playing with vision. He's seeing what's happening in front of him. He's able to make the move here, a little swim move, and continue to play downhill and still be great on his feet to make a TFL.
Zach, do you think, the point here of the jet sweep motion was to get Mike Hall to go with him, or are we saying this was really just poor work up front?
I think it's poor work. I think it's poor work front because you can see right here Blackman, really they're reading the edge guy. You can see that the tackle blocked down. They're reading the edge guy right here, right as he's coming free, Jack Sawyer. That's who they're really reading. And they see Jack play upfield. So Blackman, of course, is going to give the ball. Right here, they're done. Mike Hall's making a great play, making the center miss. He's getting in the backfield, getting the TFL. Blackman's reading Jack Sawyer. Jack's doing what he's supposed to be doing. This is just a perfect play by the defense. You see JT there on the outside as well. Guess what? Keeping his outside shoulder free. That if the running back gets to the outside and breaks free from Mike Hall, JT's right there to clean it up as well.
I know these are your favorite when we get this picture. 1, 2, 3, 4 silver bullets that all were making a claim to a TFL.
No doubt. And this is behind the scrimmage. And this play just happened. This play maybe lasted 2-3 seconds. And you see 4 guys run into the football back 5 yards behind the field. And guess what? Look at that. They are making the running back know and heard that, guess what? We're here and we're playing in your backfield all game long.
All right. Sometimes when you start racking up a bunch of tackles for loss, they just come to you almost with a magnet by accident. You become attractive for these plays. And as long as you put yourself in the right position and still capitalize. Look, it's a botch snap. We know that. We're not going to say that this will be the toughest tackle for loss that Mike Hall ever gets, but he is in position to capitalize on it.
No, but this is what I love about this play, right? Is that Mike Hall, there's obviously a blitz going on here. Mike Hall's playing on the outside. He's like, hey, listen, not that I'm giving myself up, but I know I got to get across this guy's face and at least show that I'm doing a stunt inside, right? So he stunts inside, realizes, hey, listen, the guy's on my edge. I know I've got nothing, there's nothing that I can keep on doing if I keep on trying to rip across his face. So with Mike Hall knowing and having a feel for the football, like we talked about, that this guy's just got a nose for the football, spins out of it. And guess what? Yes, it was a botch snap. But he's making a play TFL when really his job was to get across that guy's face. But if he knew he kept on going, he was running himself out of the play. So he saw what was happening in front of him, even as a defensive tackle, had a nose for the football, spun out of it, and makes a TFL. And guess what? Still does his job, because you can see Cody Simon, who's in right now, making a blitz, completely unscathed. If the snap was good, Mike Hall still spinning out of it, Cody Simon would have been there right to clean it up, and Mike Hall would have been the reason why.
That is why I love having Zach Boren for BuckIQ, because it's a botch snap. You think there's nothing to learn here. And then I still get 2 minutes of incredible analysis for something that I never would have noticed otherwise. That's why you're the man.
That's why I'm here, man. That's why I do this stuff for free for you, man. This is why I bleed the scarlet gray and the silver bullet defense, just so I can sit here and feel like I'm in the film room a little bit and get hyped up with my guys like we used to all the time back in the day.
Don't make them think that I'm making you do this for free, Zach. I have to pay for you to hang out with me.
Free beers on the weekends.
That's right. All right. So another one coming on Saturday, a night game. You know that the Boren Brothers tailgate will be bumping Ohio State, Toledo, an in-state clash. Zach's already getting ready for it now. He wants to talk about some silver bullets again next week.
I'm excited, man. Toledo team, in-state battle. They're 2-0 coming into the horseshoe. You know, with some former Buckeyes on the team, they think they can give Ohio State a game. Man, this silver bullet defense is going to set the tone just like they have the first two games of this year. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm calling. It's turnover time for this defense.
Woo!
Time have not had it yet. Turnover time for the defense. Big play, whether it be strip sack, INT, they're due for one.
Zach Boren calling it right now. We haven't had a chance to break down a turnover yet for Ohio State, and yet 1 touchdown in 8 quarters. Still pretty good. He's Zach. I am Austin. Thank you so much for joining us for BuckIQ on the podcast. Have a great week. We will see you next week after Ohio State Toledo.